Good morning. Welcome to our weekly devotion. And today's reading is the concluding chapter of the book of Ruth. The story of Ruth is not just a romance story between Boaz and Ruth. It is also an allegory of the romance of God and us, a reflection of God's redemption of us, His people. In chapter 1, Naomi's husband and all her sons have died. Now it's only left with her and her daughter-in-law. And they have no means of living. They are living like destitute, gleaning from Boaz's field. The thing is this, they are asset rich but cash poor. They own a land but have little cash or no cash, so they need to sell their land. And according to the laws of Israel, they can only sell their land to the closest relatives, who is called the Kinsman redeemer. And Boaz agrees to help them. And so in this final chapter, in chapter 4, Boaz is found waiting at the city gate for Naomi's next closest relative. And when he arrives, Boaz sits down with him to discuss the situation of Ruth and Naomi. And this relative is aware of his obligation, and thus he agrees to redeem the land and the family. But as soon as he finds out that he also has to marry Ruth, he declines. This is because if the union of him and Ruth produces a child, the child will carry Ruth's late husband's name and inherit the land. He thought it was not worth it to spend his own money to perpetuate the name of another, so he declined to be the redeemer. Well, this practice of redemption may sound strange to us because we don't have such practices today, and we may not understand why God gave the Israelites this strange law. You see, land is a gift of God and must remain within the original tribe. And so land can only be passed down to the eldest son. If a person dies without an heir, the closest relative has the obligation to purchase the land of a deceased relative and takes care of the widow by marrying her. This relative is called the Kinsman redeemer, and the son of the new marriage between the redeemer and the widow will continue the legacy in name of the deceased husband. In other words, not only must the redeemer come out with his own money to pay for the land, he must take care of the widow and give up the land to this new son. He cannot consolidate and expand his property or empire under his name or pass his inheritance to his eldest son. In other words, the redeemer needs to make a sacrifice at his own expense to redeem the needy relatives. And so the original redeemer didn't want to make the sacrifice. After the original redeemer declined to be the redeemer, Boaz willingly took over the role of the redeemer, married Ruth, made her part of the family, provided for her and Naomi, and produced a son who eventually, we know, became the grandfather of David, whom through this lineage came Jesus, our great redeemer. The entire book of Ruth is a miniature picture of Christ. Christ is like our kinsman redeemer, redeeming us. He is the groom. We, the church, are the bride. He willingly marries us and makes us part of his family. And we are like Naomi and Ruth. We are like destitute, needing salvation, held hostage by Satan and the world. Jesus is our redeemer. He pays the ransom at his own expense. Our Redeemer saves us and grafts us into his family. Our Redeemer gives us back our inheritance, the kingdom of heaven. My friends, you are God's beloved. Jesus has paid the price for your freedom. Jesus is providing your sustenance. Jesus wants you to produce the fruit of the Spirit and inherit the kingdom of heaven. What a glorious and wonderful news. Have a good day.